Okay, you guys, on to chapter 11. Okay, there's a few of these that goes up to chapter 14, but they all speak to what we're going through now and what we will be going through and what is happening now to what will happen. Some of it is present or seems to be speaking to the present, and some seems to be speaking to the future, as well as all speak to the past. Hosea chapter 11. When Israel was a child, I loved him. See what I mean? So when it speaks about mothers and children and not bearing children, it means countries. Okay, groups of people not bearing more groups of people. And yes, it means people bearing children, but it's talking about adult children, grown children, going to war, going to battle. When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son. The more they were called, the more they went away. See, so a lot of it speaks to us also. We are also spiritual Israel, and it's speaking to us. It's obvious it's speaking about us too, because it happens with us too. He calls us and people run away. The more they were called, the more they went away. They kept sacrificing to Baals and burning offerings to idols. Well, people still continue to sacrifice to other gods and false teachings. There's a lot of false teachings. I mean, Baals and idols, that could be various things. Even beer can be an idol, you know, something as far as causing you to look away from God. Yet it was I who taught Ephraim to walk. I took him up by their arms, but they did not know that I healed them. I led them with cords of kindness, with bands of love, and I became to them as one who eases the yoke on their jaws. And I bent down to them and fed them. They shall not return to the land of Egypt, but Assyria shall be their king, because they refused to return to me. Well, he can do similar things to us. He can give us kings, that may not be so godly as punishment to us because we refuse to look to him. The sword shall rage against their cities, consume the bars of their gates. In this case, a sword could be weapons, other kinds of weapons, The sword shall rage against their cities, consume the bars on their gates, and devour them because of their own counsels. My people are bent on turning away from me. And though they call out to the Most High, he shall not raise them up at all. Because they say they believe, but they don't want to live like they believe. A lot of people are that way, and there's a lot of teachings that they don't realize, or they don't want to realize, they don't want to accept. God says that we're supposed to come out of the world. We're not supposed to be of the world, just in it. We're not supposed to celebrate things the way that non-believers celebrate. We have our own traditions that God has given us, and a lot of traditions that people recognize, they're not holy, and a lot of things that people run to aren't holy. Even types of movies that they're running to aren't holy. They run to unholy things. They run to the world instead of to God. We're supposed to be different. We're not supposed to be like everyone else. God says, wide is the gate that leads to destruction. Are you running after hordes and, rivers of people and doing what everyone else does? Or are you doing what the few are doing? My people are bent on turning away from me, and though they call out to the Most High, so he's talking about his people, not the whole world, his own people. My people are bent on turning away from me. And though they call out to the Most High, he shall not raise them up at all. How can I give you up, O Ephraim? How can I hand you over, O Israel? How can I make you like Admah? How can I treat you like Zebolim? My heart recoils within me. It pains God to punish us and to let us run to our own destruction. He lets us have our way. Let me have it, let me have it, let me have it. Fine, have your way, learn the hard way. That pains him. My compassion grows warm and tender. I will not execute my burning anger. I will not again destroy Ephraim, for I am God and not a man. the Holy One in your midst, and I will come in wrath. I will not come in wrath. They shall go after the Lord. They shall go after the Lord, and he will roar like a lion. When he roars, his children shall come trembling from the west. They shall come trembling like birds from Egypt, and like doves from the land of Assyria, and I will return them to their home, declares the Lord. Ephraim has surrounded me with lies, and the house of Israel with deceit. But Judah still walks with God and is faithful to the Holy One. So are we Judah, or are we the other sinful ones? Are we really truly faithful with God, walking with God, or are we not? Are we faithful to the Holy One? Do we still walk with God? That's the thing. So that's what we need to do in these times. Chapter 12. Ephraim feeds on the wind and pursues the east wind all day long. They multiply falsehood and violence. That's what's happening now. They multiply falsehood and violence. They make a covenant with Assyria, and oil is carried to Egypt. The Lord has indictment against Judah, and will punish Jacob according to his ways. He will repay him according to his deeds. In the womb he took his brother by the heel, and in his manhood he strove with God. He strove with the angel and prevailed. He wept and sought his favor. He met God at Bethel, and there God spoke with us. The Lord, the God of hosts, the Lord is his memorial name. So you, by the help of your God, return, hold fast to love and justice, and wait continually for your God. That's what we need to do. By the help of God, return, hold fast to the love of justice, and wait continually for our God. That's what we need to do. A merchant in whose hands are false balances. He loves to oppress. Ephraim has said, "Ah, but I am rich. I have found wealth for myself. In all my labors they cannot find in me iniquity or sin. I am the Lord your God from the land of Egypt. I will again make you dwell in tents, and as in the days of the appointed feasts. I spoke to the prophets. It was I who multiplied visions." And that's what he does in the end times. He multiplies visions. I believe I have had one or two or more. Especially just recently, I believe I had one. And through the prophets gave parables. If there is iniquity in Gilead, they shall surely come to nothing. In Gilgal, they sacrifice bulls. Their altars are like stone heaps on the furrows of the field. Jacob fled to the land of Aram. There Israel served for a while, and for a while he guarded sheep. By a prophet the Lord brought Israel up from Egypt, and by a prophet he was guarded. Ephraim has given bitter provocation, so his Lord will leave his blood guilt on him and will repay him for his disgraceful deeds. And God can do that to nations. He can repay them for their disgraceful deeds. So that's chapter 11 and 12. Then there'll be chapter 13 and 14, and I'll be done.